Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the All Systems Go podcast. I'm thankful and excited that you decided to tune in again. And today, I have someone from the family of automation. Okay, and this is our guest is Latrice Claiborne, and she is the owner and founder of Trinity Business Solutions. As a tech tools fanatic, she is up to date on all the latest tech trends and knows systems and automation like the back of her hand. Do you all see why I said she's part of the family here? All right, I'm not done. I'm not done. She's been able to scale her business to multi six figures while at home with her children and husband of 11 years. First off, I've read that, but I just realized what I was reading. Congratulations for 11
Thank you.
years, Latrice.
12 this
Congratulations.
week.
Whoo. Happy
12.
early anniversary, and is helping other business owners attain the same freedom that she experiences daily. Latrice not only has the know-how to get your systems and automations running, she has the passion to help you grow and succeed with tech solutions and marketing automation. Latrice, welcome to the podcast. I'm so honored that you decided to come on and bless us with your experience. How are you doing?
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Let me first say that I have been listening to the podcast for a very, very long time.
Yes.
You are probably the first person that I heard really talking about systems and automation in this way. Because you've been in
Wow.
the game for a minute.
I ha-
Because you've been in the game for got some years on you in the game.
yeah, I do. I do.
uh, Before it was popular, before systems were like a term that people just slang around and use,
Yeah.
you were using it first. You were the first person I heard using
Yeah.
it in this way and
Yeah.
on a platform like this. Everybody was talking about being a business owner and an entrepreneur and other things on all the podcasts I was listening to, but this one specifically was very different because it was talking about my industry and I didn't hear anybody else
Yeah.
talking about it in that way. So thank you for the platform and thank you for
Oh,
your time you put in this industry.
yes. Yes. Thank you. You are very welcome. And I receive all flowers.
Ah,
Okay. So I
please receive
appreciate that.
flowers.
Yes, I appreciate that. So tell us, Latrice, I'm familiar a little bit. So let me give everybody context. I was able to connect with Latrice prior to recording, not like right before this recording, but we actually had a different call where we just caught up and got to know one another. So I'm familiar with your backstory a bit. But what I wanted to give people insight on when we talk about your journey is often we hear people mention systems. Oh, you need systems. And everybody's seen that picture where you just see the feet of the person on the beach. And then they're like, oh, money's just coming into my account and I'm not even doing anything. Look at my pina colada. And oftentimes people, there's such a huge gap between what you see on the front end and what's actualized in business. And sometimes you can get some insight of the back end. Like people say, hey, look, here's how my project management system is going. Here's how my emails perform, this, and that. But very rarely do you see somebody who exemplifies how automation has truly aided them in freeing up their time to achieve a lifestyle that they truly desired. So that's where I really want to hone in on your journey and let everybody know first, were you always a systems person?
Yeah, I
Okay.
was. That's how my brain is wired. My
Mm,
brain is
mm,
wired to operate in systems. So I say I have self-diagnosed ADHD. I know it. I didn't I have family members who have been diagnosed, and I have a child who has ADHD. I went through testing with him and all the studying all the things, reading all the
mm.
things. And while I was reading, I was like, oh wow, I check all these boxes. This is great. So I just knew. I was like, oh, okay, got it. Boom. But I realized that my brain has been wired to figure out to restructure a system to figure out how it works in each season. So even when I was a
Mm,
kid, I
mm,
knew I wanted to get things done efficiently. I've always been a high achiever. I always wanted to do more, to learn more, to achieve more, to do better. And sometimes I would get frustrated with like, what is wrong with why is this not working for me? Okay, you need to figure out how you work most efficiently. So I
Mm.
always did a system. My mom was a school teacher, and during the summer, she would go back to school early to prepare for the kids to come back, and she would leave us a list of like, look, this is everything y'all got to do. When I come home and pull in that driveway, everything from this list better be done.
Mm.
That to me was like, why is this so out of order? Who just leaves a list? Just a list. Like a list? Who does that?
Yeah.
So every day I would take her list. I would create a list for me and my siblings. Everybody had a checklist. And I would break this list down into sections of the house. Who's going to do this first? And in what order they were supposed to complete each task. Drove them crazy. They were like, why are you so bossy? No, because it's out of order and we just need to get this in order. And
Yeah.
that's just how my mind has always worked in processes and structural systems is how it's always worked. And then I coupled that with software and tech tools, and it was just a beautiful match. But I've always been a
Mm.
systems person.
I think we really align on that word order.
Hmm.
If you talk to anybody in my life, I am a stickler for order. It don't tell me what to do and not give me the agency to do it in the correct order. It'll drive me crazy when people in business focused on the right thing at the wrong time.
That's right.
And it's like, look, you're just launching. You don't even have an audience right now. Please don't focus on your logo. You are
Yeah.
you're out of order. Let's get some leads coming in. Let's validate the idea. So order is huge. I'm pleased to hear that come out your mouth. Your professional career started where?
So actually, initially, first, I've actually been working since I was a teenager in childcare.
Mm,
Um, that is a long time dream of mine to get
yeah.
back to working with children in a different capacity.
Oh, nice, nice,
Children that are not as fortunate as some of us. So
yeah,
that's a dream of mine in the long run. But
nice.
initially, it started in childcare, and even then, with children, systems have to come in place. Y'all, the kids not gonna run me crazy. Y'all not about to come here and act a fool.
Yes.
We need structure and really just consuming how they learn, what makes this kid thrive, and how this one learns this thing. It was amazing to me. So I started off in childcare, and
Mm,
then I always had a brain for marketing. I loved marketing and business and things like that. So then I went to being the marketing and business development for an accounting firm.
mm,
And it was just like things that they were giving me were not lining up with what I was doing. They were teaching me stuff that I was like, or giving me things that didn't seem like it fit under my hat. Like, that's not my responsibility. The first tool they gave me was Infusionsoft. And I was like, that has nothing to do with my job. Like, why are you asking me to learn this tool and to teach it to the team? But it was literally just God giving me what I needed and equipping me with the tools I needed to run my business.
yeah.
And throughout that whole position, although I didn't love it, I saw seeds constantly being sown of things that I would need for when I got in this position. And it introduced me to how much I really, really loved the tech
Wow.
piece of it. Systems
Yeah.
was already a thing, and I was in charge of systems there. But then the tech piece, and I was like, oh wow, okay, I see what's happening here. Okay,
I
I got it.
love it. I love it. So, what was your gateway? Like for me, when I look at my story, I had I didn't know about marketing until I failed really hard, and my gateway into marketing automation was I had a client that was a prominent public speaker, and they just assumed that I knew Infusionsoft. And Latrice,
Mm.
I had never heard of it. I'm like an engineer. All my software was like Microsoft and all enterprise stuff. And they were like, yeah, we're using Infusionsoft. And if you could figure this out, I'm sure you can. You've used it, right? And right there, there's a fork in the road. Be truthful and say, no, I haven't. Or go with the flow and say, oh, yeah, sure. Know what that is. And that was the start. I jumped in, and because I didn't want to be fraudulent, I dived deep into Infusionsoft, connected with the community, started following people, enrolled in programs, things of that nature, and the rest is history. But what was your gateway from that realization that, wait a minute, there's a tech piece that I can couple with the systems? Wait a minute, this is a thing? What was that gateway for you?
So I actually didn't pair the two together initially. I didn't pair the two initially.
Mm,
I immediately went the tech route. because that
Okay.
is the, oh, shiny object syndrome.
Yep.
This is
Yep.
the thing that everybody focuses on. Like, I need somebody who does infusion. So tech was the easy segue into it
There it
initially.
is.
After I started my business, left my job, did all the things that everybody has to eventually do. Once I did that, I then went over into starting offering the contracting services. I got my Infusionsoft certification. But once
Yep.
I got in there and I started to notice that some of the done for you clients became a headache because there was
Mm,
so much that they needed done before the software. And
yeah.
realizing that, I'm like, all right, I have to help them get the system in order. So I need to create some type of framework to help them figure out exactly what they need. And then I realized that most people don't know what a system is anyway. When you
Yeah.
say system, they're like, oh, active campaign.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
acuity. Okay, keep.
Hmm.
So they will throw a random system, a random software out there and consider
Yes.
that the system. So I had to figure out a framework to get my clients to the point where they were ready for me to actually implement the work and make my job easier. So they don't just have me implement the tool, then they have a headache in the end of it.
Yeah, yeah, and I wanna give you a spotlight and let you talk about how you do some of that implementation. So you start techie, and then you start to realize, wait a minute, there's more to it than just the
Mhm.
software. And hold on, the language you're using is a little off. Wait, you're not gonna make it. Hold on, let's take a step back, get some systems in place, then let the systems determine strategy, then systems, then let that determine the software, and now we can reach some success. So you start moving, you start making some progress, some revenue. What was it about you that did not sacrifice the home life when you saw that you could start making more and more and more money?
So it didn't happen like that. What
Okay.
initially happened was I went for the money and I went for the, oh man,
Mm,
this is actually initially I just said, you know what, I'm gonna keep I just had a baby. So I
hmm.
said, you know what, I'm gonna just keep my two kids at home and I'm just gonna make the difference between what whatever I was making minus the childcare.
Yep. Yep.
I just make that. So I didn't get in this to be like, "Oh, I'm just gonna make all this money." I was like, "No, I just wanna spend time with my kids."
Got it.
That was the why.
Wow.
But eventually, as opportunity presented itself and another opportunity and another opportunity, when by the time my youngest became 3, at my youngest at that time
Hmm.
became 3 years old, I then put him in preschool. So I was like, "Ooh, I have so much time." I have, like, all day where no kids are here. I can
Mm,
get so much done. So I started to pursue it, and opportunity after opportunity started to open up once I continued to invest that time.
wow.
So subconsciously, it was like a trigger of like, continue to invest the time, continue to make more money,
Mm,
keep investing time, keep investing more time. And I was working almost around the clock. So I have my oldest son is very, very, he's outgoing. He's
hmm.
very outgoing and he's always been a comedian. But one of the things that he used to do all the time is he used to put this work show on. And he used to always be like, I got work to do. I got work to do. And he used to always say that. And so at first, everybody would laugh, like, oh,
Yep.
what's the show? And he had a toy laptop and he was constantly, and one day somebody asked him, what are you doing? What are you mocking? He was like, my mommy. My mommy always works.
Wow.
And I was like, well, I failed. Let me go ahead and clock out. Well, there we go. That like you ain't gonna remember. Oh yeah, my mommy take me to all these places. We go to the park. We have fun. No,
Yeah.
his core memory was
Wow.
I got work to do, and so I was like, all right, so I'm failing at this basically. So we need to go ahead and
Mm,
regroup, take a step back and regroup. And so I got to the point where I was making all the money I wanted to make. I was like, oh man, this is great. I can hire this person. I can invest in this. We get to travel. We get to go here. We get to do these wonderful things and live this life that seems so great. But at the end of the day, in the beginning, I started this because I said I had other
wow.
obligations. I said I wanted to spend time with these kids. I wanted to be a part of everything. I didn't want to miss a thing. And now here I am just working, working, working around the clock. So
Wow.
it took me getting to that point to be like, okay, cool. I literally scrapped everything and started from scratch again. I started from
Wow.
scratch with, I had so many team members, I had all these things. And it was just so much of a requirement for me. It was so time consuming. Whether I
Mm,
was doing the work or not, I was still having to meet with people, do assessments, train people, doing marketing. We launching something else, then we launching again. I have retainer clients. It was just consuming my life, and I didn't like it. So I
mm.
literally started from scratch, and I was like, all right, let's start again. We're going to scrap these offers and we're going to start over with something that is sustainable for my life. And I had to
Okay.
really, really make a
Okay.
sacrifice.
Whew. All right. So that we getting into it, everyone. So this is good. This is good. You said I started over and I cringed for all of my inventor, founder, big visionaries, right? Because this is often what's required. A lot of times somebody will bring me into their company and I tell them all the time the worst thing you could do is have success doing things the wrong way
Yep.
because you just built this terrible, just Frankenstein bolted solution system. And I come in and I'm essentially going to tell you this thing ain't going to take you where you need to go.
Yeah.
Now, trust me, I've learned how to not just give anesthesia to the patient and knock them out. I can operate while they're woke now, but this idea of man, we got to start over. They often think of everything that they're letting go of, everything that was working, and they don't see the greater later that will be in front of them.
Yeah.
So in your time, I think I know the answer to this, but was it hard for you to hit that reset button? And what what did that look like? Did you just take your website down? Did you just redirect the checkout pages? Like, what was that process?
So for me, it was more internal than it
Yep,
was
yep.
what anybody else would notice externally. I had a large team. I had about 15 people.
Mm,
And it was large for what I didn't, because I considered like, oh, I'm gonna get a VA and then we just gonna me and her gonna rock out.
yeah,
That
15
was the
is
initial plan.
huge. Yeah,
That was the
jeez.
initial plan.
Yeah.
Was we just me and this girl, we gonna rock out. Then it evolved to I was like, wait a minute. Why do I have all these people and why am I doing all these things? I don't know what to do. So I had to cut people. I had to
Mm,
restructure and move certain people who were not in the right place. I had to really get to the place where, like, am I being the type of leader that I need to be for these people?
mm,
Do I have enough thinkers at the top and strategists there, or do I have a bunch of executionists that can just do tasks,
that's
that can
good.
check off a box? I had to really focus on that, and that was rough. And then the year prior to that, not even a whole year, the year prior to that, I had invested so much money in all of these experts that were to come in and restructure my agency, and they did all of this work. And then I also did all of these trainings with my team. So in my mind, I'm looking at how much money did you spend on experts? How many tens of thousands of dollars
Yeah,
did you spend
yeah.
to hire the best of this person to come in? And how much money did you spend training your team to do all these things and creating all these processes that now you want to just start from scratch with
Mm.
all the processes again? Have you lost your mind?
Ooh,
But
ooh.
I'm like, okay, I'm gonna lose my mind one way or the other. So I'm gonna lose my mind sitting here continuing the business this way, or I'm gonna have a shot at getting it back if I go here and I start over. Because
Yeah.
I was like pulling my hair out at that point and
Mm,
not really sleeping. And we even had more retainer clients than we had the capacity to handle at that time.
yeah.
So it was like everybody was stretched too thin all across the board. So I had no choice but to start over and create a good shot at creating exactly what I wanted to see.
Mm, man, this is so good. Listen, everybody, you have two people deep in the automation space. Listen to the conversation we're having around success and growth. A lot of it that people just leap over is mindset, right? I can't even get to the execution of a thing if my mind ain't there. And for you, I see you took on that leadership mindset and said, "Wait a minute, hold on. If in order to get to where I really want to get to, it's going to be
I
some
gotta take these 10
changes."
steps back. I take these
It's
10 steps back, but
and
it's
I
okay.
Latrice, though, you put so much money, you had invested so much in Path A. I cringed with you because I found that to be true for me in my corporate career. And after having enough student loans to buy a second house, right? And 8 years in, I've got my master's. I'm like, man, I'm well decorated, respected in the space. I don't want to do it anymore. And
Mm,
nobody in my family is real entrepreneurial, didn't have
like,
a friend support system that's like, yeah, do it.
what?
They're like, what are you thinking? Like, you went to school for too long. Remember all those late nights studying? And that was in my head for like I lasted 2 more years than I should have in the corporate world
Mm,
because of that. But similar to you get to a point where you're just like, you know what? If I don't
see?
do this, I'm gonna be going crazy either way. But I'd rather be crazy on the side of, man, there's so much more potential, and my
Yeah.
mind is freed up so much more, and I'm in control, really. So I have to highlight that and commend you for that, because now I would imagine after you make that shift. But let me not easily jump over. I know you talked about children in the beginning, and you said you really love working with kids, and especially those without access to resources that most people or some demographics do. And what I heard is a heart to truly help the helpless, right? So I just have to imagine somewhere in that process when you look at the additional 12 folks that you got on, and you're going to have to let go of like 10 of these jokers. I had to imagine that was a heavy heart pull. And you were
Mhm.
like, oh, but they need money too. And I promised them this. What was how did you get through that?
Yeah, so with the people, that's the biggest piece of, I would say, people don't like people management. A lot of times it's because it's always like this, people are difficult and people are, for me, it's not as much that as it
Mm-hmm.
is man, I get connected with these people. Like, we build
Mm-hmm.
relationships. I know they kids. Your daughter gonna be on
Yeah.
the Zoom meeting on Monday. Like,
Yeah.
it's a
Mm.
thing where we just get so connected. And for me, that's my struggle more so
Yeah.
than oh, y'all just so difficult and y'all just get on my nerves. That's not it's not
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
For them, I gave them plenty of notice so that they were
Good.
able to
Good.
transition out, so that they had time, they were able to
Yeah.
transition out. I also placed a couple of people.
Oh,
So,
nice.
for example, I had one client that we were getting rid of in that season, and I was like, I just can't do it anymore. So I took the team member on my team who was already serving that client behind the scenes, and I put her on the front end and was like, look, contract right here. You ready to go? You want it?
Beautiful.
Cool.
Beautiful.
So I paired a couple people with specific contracts, and then I helped support them in other areas as well, just making sure that they were placed in the right place. Some of them had business ideas of their own that they wanted to do, and they just needed support in structuring them. I got programs for days that I hadn't done for years. So I was like, boom,
Mm-hmm.
here, take a program. Here, this
Mm.
is just to help you build your business. Whatever resources I have to help you to move along in your business or your career,
Yeah.
I got you. And that made me feel better. They had no hard feelings about the transition, but
Yeah.
that made me feel better about the transition was because, okay, I feel like I've done something to help you move forward in the rest of your life.
Yeah, yeah, that's the hard part, right? The heart in business that a lot of people want to separate. Hey, it's not business, it's not personal, it's business. And I cringe so much when I hear that because everything is personal on some
Mhm.
level. It just is what it is. And to see you take that extra, now let's be clear and fully honest here. You could have told them, hey, I'm shutting down. Here's your 2 week notice, 30-day notice, shut down, not place them, not giving them any resources, and still not been wrong. That would
Yeah.
not have technically been, oh, she did me so wrong. Business had to make a shift. Look, you weren't part of it. Sorry. Great work. If you need a testimonial, got you. But by the 30th, be gone, type. And that's
Yeah.
happened many times. So it's no knock against somebody that would have taken that approach. But you see, what I see is seeds planted,
Mhm.
right? When you take that extra step, that extra care, because you just never know. And I'm always thinking, Latrice, I've been on the short end of that decision many times in my career, professionally and as an entrepreneur. So I know how it feels. And how
Mhm.
dare I be the catalyst to that
Yeah.
feeling in someone else's life. It's not that deep to me in terms of business success if I have to sacrifice people along the
Yeah.
way, you know.
Absolutely.
So that's so this is so good. So now we get to the transition. You got the lean team now, Latrice. Lean
Hmm.
team. You're more aware now of what the system needs to look like. You're more aware of, listen, I can't be mommy always working. You can't be impersonating me no more. What were the next steps when it came to, well, let me say this. What systems were the first that you had in place to start to leverage this new direction?
So what's funny is I actually literally just went back to the basics. When I first started my business, I was extremely disciplined. I was
Mm,
extremely
mm,
disciplined. I had such a structure in place because again, I had at that time 2 kids at home, 1 toddler, at a 2-year-old and a newborn. So at that time, I literally needed to leverage every little teeny little chunk of time I got to be
yeah.
super productive and be super efficient in that little bit of time because I wasn't going to get a lot of time to work with them having and needing all the things. So I literally just went back to the basics. My basics of time management that I used to use, my time blocking, my task
Ooh,
batching, my
ooh,
Pomodoro technique that I used to use,
mm,
all the timers, all those things.
mm.
I went back to literally just blocking off chunks of my time and
Look at
batching
that.
specific tasks for specific times a day. And that tremendously helped me. But, all the basic things that you automate, your scheduling, your onboarding, your lead gen, all that stuff was already working. And I
Yep.
had learned so much because I had done so much in all those years. I
Yep.
was able to get all the data and I knew what works for my audience now. I don't have to guess like I did in the beginning. I know what works, I know what doesn't. I had created a really nice, efficient process for my content to where I had a nice repurposing content process, create the
Mm,
content in bulk, chop it up in small pieces, repurpose the little videos in multiple different platforms. I had a great process that made me seem like I was doing a lot and I was everywhere. So I'll see
yeah.
somebody. I have local people who like a person from church that
Mm-hmm.
sees me on social media, doesn't really understand what I do. They're not online business. So they don't never, my mama still don't know what I do. So they don't understand what we do. They don't get it. It's always like, what can you tell me what you do again? And we
Yeah.
just go
Can you
skip
fix
over
my computer?
that.
Maybe it won't.
I just had to something wrong with my Kindle app on my iPad. Girl, I can't help you today. I can't. We're
Not
not doing this.
today. Not today.
FaceTiming me from one phone to look at the Kindle app.
Yep.
So I ended up having people from church and stuff. They'll look and they'll be like, "Oh, you're a busy lady," and I'm like, "No, actually," but
Yep.
it just appears that
Mm,
I'm everywhere. I'm doing all the things. I batch everything. I'm on a podcast now, but I've been on podcasts and in meetings all day because everything is segmented. Everything has a day.
yeah.
Everything has a place that it goes, as a position, and a place that it goes in. And that system has really, really simplistically worked for me. And I literally went back to the basics of what meant a lot to me back then. What disciplinary
Mm,
things that I have in place? What did I do then that I really got lackadaisical on in this season that I need to get back to that helps me to maximize my time I typically work, and people are always like, what? I typically work 2 to 4 hours a day.
okay.
2 to 4 hours a day, Monday through Friday. My 2-year-old is here. I have another kid. A 2-year-old's always here with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I work 2 to 4 hours a day. And me and him, we be chilling. We go places, we have fun, we have a good time. And that is important. That's important to me. And so I had to really, really, okay, let me figure out what in this business fits into my life. Do these
Mm,
offers align with the life that I want? If these offers require me to be working nonstop all the time at your every beck and call, helping you with this launch and this thing, and if that's what that requires, that doesn't fit into my life. So I need to restructure my offer so that the offers align with the life that I want. And I have to put in the work to make this offer successful
mm,
on the front end, on the lead gen, on the marketing, on all those things, on the client experience. I have to do that on the front end to make this work and really trust that this is going to be profitable for me. Create the
yeah.
strategy to make this profitable so that I can live the life that I want.
Mm, this is so good. Listen, everybody. If it's not good to you, it's good to me. So mission accomplished. I have to say this. I have to say this, and I'm interested in your feedback. You talked about getting back to the basics. And this is a theme on the previous podcast. I had Tanya, and she was talking about the importance of blocking off time and scheduling. So you two are aligned and ain't even met each other probably. So there's a theme here. Now I want to. I'm burning to ask this question because you also mentioned church members. So I had a pastor friend once that was working full time and pastoring, and he would be like, "When I come off this job, I'm gonna tear the church up. We're going higher, this and that." Then he comes off the job, and it's the total opposite. Like you
Mm.
saw a downturn, and I was like, "What happened?" And years later, I looked up and I said, "You know what? That job was creating structure for him." And
Yeah.
he was thriving in that structure. And when that job was removed and you no longer had to wake up at
Like,
6
I got all this
a.m.,
time. I got, look at the day. Moving
right?
so
Yeah. So would you say, Latrice, would you say that the kids helped you when you were getting back to the basics, make sure you were structured and
Mhm.
disciplined because you literally did not have all the time in the world to fool around and just kind of figure it out?
Yeah, it's funny. I'm in a group chat with different entrepreneur friends of
Mm-hmm.
mine. And literally today, maybe about an hour ago, one of my entrepreneur friends in the group chat, she's the one in the group chat who has older kids who are middle and high school.
Okay.
And so she has all day and she has an office and she goes to her office and works. And the rest of us have small children.
Mm-hmm.
So for her today, she literally just an hour ago was like, "Are y'all working today? Because I'm just hanging out. I don't, I'm tired. I don't feel like working today. My mind's all over the place. I did recorded video content. I did this, and I'm just kind of hanging out." And it's funny because she has that flexibility, but for us, there's that drive that's like, "Oh, hold on, he taking a nap. Oh God,
Yeah.
get the stuff. Nope, nope. You got an hour and 45
Yeah.
minutes max,
Yeah. Yeah.
approximately an hour and 45 minutes. Let's go." And you're gonna take
Mm,
advantage of every single minute. It keeps you disciplined because you know I can't take this time for granted. Kids
yes.
coming back in a second. Let's roll. Let's roll. So
Yeah.
I know exactly. I'm keeping an account of how much time I have and how to structure what I do. Okay, we can do learning at this time. I
Yeah.
actually homeschooled my kids for a year, and I'm going back to homeschooling them next
Wow.
year. But I
Wow.
homeschooled them for a year, and my husband was literally saying the other day during that year, I homeschooled them. I was pregnant with another child, and I had all these clients. I had all this stuff going on, and my husband was like, "What in the world? What what am I what are you feeding yourself?
Right.
Because
Who are you right now?
something's going on." Because I mean, I did 4 launches for myself during the time that I was pregnant. I was doing homeschool. I had
Mm,
clients. I had team members. I mean, I was out here. For me, it's the more pressure that's put on me, the more I'm like, "All right, let's go. Let's
yep.
go. We gotta
Yep.
let's keep the structure in place." And it's the
Yeah.
structure that helps me to thrive. I thrive in structure. And
Yeah.
when I feel like I have all this time and I feel like I have all this space in this room, I'm just gonna chill and I'm gonna hang
Yeah.
out a little bit and get a little lazy and
Mm-hmm.
kind of lack discipline in certain areas. And a lot of people are the same way.
Yeah. No, that's good. What is your team size? What does your team consist of now?
Just 5 people.
Mm.
So I like it. I like it with just the 5, but even still in that, um, I have a couple on retainer.
Yep.
So I have an executive assistant on retainer.
Yep.
My operations manager is also on retainer. And not that those 2 are the most important, but right there, I can't do it. I just
Ooh.
if it ain't for them, I just can't. I'm not showing up. I'm just not going to the
Mm-hmm.
work on that day because I
Yep.
can't.
Yep.
I also have a VA, and she helps me with like tech projects and different things like that. And then I have a copy person, and then it's myself. It's just
Yep.
the 5 of us,
Yep.
and it's simple. And my copy person doubles, and she supports my membership, like in my Facebook group for my membership.
Absolutely.
But other than that, it's very simple. It's a nice, quick, easy, seamless process. Team meetings are quick and easy.
Mm.
Everybody's on the same page, in and out. And I love it because it doesn't require as much from me, but also I like that they are also able to live a life first. They have a
Yeah.
life first business as well.
Yeah.
It's not all about me, 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 and what can you do for my company and all that.
Yep.
I love what it's creating for them as well, and it's exposing them to different ways that they can live their life while also having a business.
Mm. So this is, I think it all, hopefully it came full circle for you, everyone, all my listeners. Latrice starts with 12 people. Oh, what did you say? 15? I don't know where
15,
I got 12 from. 15, right?
15.
15. 15. Okay. Working long hours. She had her son impersonating her. Okay. Goes to 5 people, 2 to 4 hours a day. One would say, well, you've downsized your team 2/3. You're operating at a third of that capacity. And if we were just going to assume that you were working 8 hours, well, now you're working 2 to 4. So that's at least minimizing your work hours by
Mhm.
50%. Surely your revenue has decreased by at least 50%.
So no, there was a season where my revenue did decrease a little bit. What I didn't take in account for was the building. So there's that one season where you switch your offers.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now you have to stop taking on more people for the thing that you know like the back of your hand that works.
Yeah.
Like
Oh
I
my
could do them
gosh.
discovery calls in my sleep with my eyes
Right.
closed, hands tied behind my back. Listen, I could do those easily.
Mm.
Close people, complete the projects, assign it to the people it needs to go to, boom, 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 QA, done. Back to the person. Easy process. But then there's that little bit of time where you have to stop taking on more people with the thing that you know,
Mm.
and you
Mm.
have to
Mm.
pause and spend time creating something new. You
Yeah.
can't just create any old rough draft of something and throw it out there because now your
Right.
integrity is on the table. So you have to create something, refine it. Now I have to relearn, what am I offering? How am I pitching this to people? How am I selling this? How am I restructuring it? And for me, a lot of it was a transition from doing as much done for you and going over to the DIY, like the programs and those things. Two different beasts, two
Yeah.
completely different beasts. The
Yeah.
messaging's different, the audience is different. How you're getting them to actually purchase this thing and join this program, completely different. So there
Yeah.
was that little stint of time where it's like, all right, we got to figure out how to do something brand new. Just when I was telling someone, I was like, man, just when I thought I had business figured out, I was like, wait, it's my first day. I don't know. It's my first day on the job. Everybody, please show me grace. I don't know what I'm
Yep.
doing.
Yep.
Help. And there's
Yep.
that little piece of time where you have to do
Mm.
that. And what that did was money was not the same for a little while because I was like, okay, but I'm gonna be diligent in the learning. I have to. I have to be
Yeah.
diligent in learning this new process, setting up a new system, creating new offers. Because if I just throw any old thing out there, my integrity is at question.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. You have to. s- I hope you all are seeing the real, what's really taking place behind the scenes. There's no switch that you're going to hit in business. Listen, we are automation specialists. This is what we do. Put a process on the table right now, and it will be automated in a matter of minutes. Especially like right now, Latrice, if I had a hot seat and hit a button, somebody comes on,
I love what I see.
there's enough brain power right here. Look, we got your whole business in 30 minutes, right? That that's not an issue. That
Mhm.
got it, checkbox. However, there is no switch that just because I know how to do that, that I money's just gonna start pouring in, and there's other things involved. I've got to make sure this new offer is aligned. It's a whole nother onboarding and back end fulfillment for this new offer than the second one. And that's another part about success, especially in the space of automation, that I need people to understand. I know it sounds so good. Landing page, active campaign, high level, cart, whatever you
Oh,
want to say, links, tags. Oh, and then look at this money. I get
you
it.
don't
I,
got to.
I promise you, I do. It's just so much more that's involved. And again, I love the fact that you were able to endure for a time.
Mhm.
That's it. That's it. Sometimes we just lack endurance, Latrice.
It's that word right there. Look, one thing you're gonna have to have in entrepreneurship:
Oh my good.
perseverance and endurance.
Mm.
Look,
We are not above it. Yes, we can automate, but we're still
not at all.
subject to the principles of building business and running
Yep.
a business sustainably.
Hmm.
So I want to publicly acknowledge that that was a huge part of success for you, is the ability to endure for a season. You didn't
Hmm.
take the temporary drop in revenue as, well, this ain't work.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's
Of course
just
you
that.
went
Can I
with it.
just endure?
Look,
Right? So
the
you
sustainability, that word you said,
mhm.
is the big piece. For a lot of us, we can do a launch and get a nice boost in revenue, or we can do something that seems to work for a time, but it's that sustainability. And for most
Mm,
people, I cannot tell you the amount of 7 and 8 figure business owners that we have served, that have been clients, that have built businesses to that point.
yeah.
We're at
Yep.
we're at 12 million a year. We're at 12 million a year, but we have no systems in place. We have a whole entire mess in the back end. And they have all the things except for the systems. So now everything in the business is shaking. It's because you have no foundation. And
Yep.
so the systems build the sustainability that you need to actually keep you going. So if you don't have systems, you better continue to listen to the podcast.
Listen,
Get some information
listen.
ASAP.
Get you some systems, folks. Now, perfect segue. First off, I can, just so you know, I could talk to you forever. I've got my timer telling me, Chris. So I'm a adhere to my process. Two questions. One, I want to give you the floor so you can talk about how you help clients and where they can get in touch with you. But before that, if someone were to ask you right now at the time of recording this, I know it changes, Latrice, but right now, your top three tools, software, let me be specific,
Hmm.
top three software that if you started a new business today, that's on your roster. I gotta have this and that. What would those top
Ooh,
three
new
tools be?
business.
Yep, yep.
Oh man. Now, if you're just a beginner, if you're just a beginner and you're focusing on getting the leads in, booking these appointments,
Which you should.
onboarding the leads, which is
Which you
extremely
should.
important, and managing the money.
Yep.
Basic, basic, basic. Before we get into high level stuff that's
Yes.
extra and all those things, I initially would choose something to schedule appointments with. Easy,
Online
simple,
scheduler.
most
Okay.
basic thing you can do.
Yep.
Most basic thing you can set up is a scheduler, Acuity, Calendly, somebody.
Yep.
Find somebody.
Okay.
And then a Dubsado,
Okay.
something to automate your full onboarding process from
Mm.
them booking the appointment with you, getting with you on the calendar, to you sending a proposal. It automatically signs contract, signs the invoice, collects the payment, sends them onboarding emails, questionnaires, all the things, gives them a
Yep.
portal. And then whatever financial tool you're going to use. If you are just beginning, I would choose those three. Now, if you already in business, we got a
Mm-hmm.
different tech stack.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're just beginning, you need to be able to get the leads in somewhere. You need to be able to book appointments, and you need to be able to manage the money that does not mingle with your personal money.
Yeah. Whew. Yes, absolutely. All right. Listen, it's a loaded question. Latrice, I struggle answering it. Even when I ask you, I'm just like, actually, I would choose this one if they were this. So I get it. So in closing, people have listened to you talk. They're intrigued by your story. They're encouraged by everything that you've been able to do. And perhaps there's somebody listening that's like, man, I'm trying to get lean to grow. And now I have the blueprint. Give people a little more insight of what you do in your company and then how they can get in touch with you.
So our goal is to help business owners streamline how they work and earn in their business. So we first figure out the system for how you work, and then we figure out the tools and the software that match with that system to help you earn more money. You can go to getsystemssupport.com. All the ways that we work with people, we work with you on a done for you basis or DIY. We have programs and a membership, or we also offer tech and automation setups, and we offer VIP days as well for those of you who are launching, because we know how much goes into a launch.
Mm.
So you go to getsystemsupport.com. I also have another free resource called the Automation Quiz. And the Automation Quiz is an amazing way for you to see kind of what's possible with other areas outside of sales, marketing, things like that. Other things that you can automate in your business. It helps you to see what's possible. So, automation-quiz.com is a great resource just for you to kind of get your feet wet and kind of see where you are with your on your automation IQ.
Yes, yes. Thank you for that, Latrice. And thank you so much for coming
Thank
on to the
you.
podcast.
I appreciate it.
I'm so grateful for people like you that have really done a great job with operating in integrity, with integrity, in a space where we know what the others are doing. So it takes that much more because you see money. You do see money that you could get if I just put a little bit of this integrity to the side. I think I
Mhm.
can double, right? Maybe even triple. But to stay on that path and to continue to operate with a heart, and of course, the space of automation done for you, do it yourself. Listen, if you're looking for reputable people, I'm praying that this podcast in its totality, from the people that have gone through my program and I've certified to people like Latrice, you cannot say, I don't know where to go. I don't know where to start. Where's the help? Help is here. And hopefully, this has been very instrumental in helping you all understand all the resources that you have available. Latrice, thank you so much. We're connected. This is our first time on the podcast, won't be the last. And I just pray and speak as much success, continued success in your business, in your
Thank you so
marriage,
much.
in everything. Again, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right.